Are you ready to break free from the chains of conformity and discover your true self? Join the Fight in Fight Club and ignite the fire within to become the person you were always meant to be.
Welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club.
But perhaps the most important rule of Fight Club is the life lessons we can learn from the movie. There is no doubt that tremendously vicious fight sequences are featured. But after watching it time and time again, I discovered deeper layers to the movie and how it continues to relate to life, and maybe even more so today than when I first watched it. I now have an intimate familiarity with Edward Norton's plight, who is known as the narrator. We can all get stuck into the meaningless aspects of life, and now and again, I feel a kinship with Tyler Durden, that is, Brad Pitt. Fight Club, released in 1999, is a film by David Fincher, based on the book by Chuck Palahniuk. Now, Fight Club has philosophical undertones that question society's obsessions, their phobias, and their habits.
We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no great war, no great depression. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression is our lives.
We still have a generation of people suffering while doing stuff they hate, buying things they don't need, and trying to impress people they don't like. We've not learned to let go of society's assumptions and expectations, and also their manipulations. Fight Club stars Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden and Edward Norton as the narrator. It also stars Helen Bonham Carter as Marla and Meat Loaf as Robert Paulson, with Meat Loaf doing a surprisingly good job at his role. Marla is also an interesting character, as we don't really know who she is, and she weaves in and out of the narrator's life, much like Tyler does. She may be part of a delusion for the narrator, or maybe his moral compass.
I'm on to you.
What?
Yeah, you're a faker. You're not dying.
Sorry.
In the Tibetan philosophy, Sylvia Plath sense of the word, I know we're all dying.
She is also portrayed as his power animal in the cave.
Now find your power animal. Slide.
Fight Club is not afraid to go to extremes. In addition to the at times offensive actions and words that its characters engage in, graphic violence is also a necessary part of the plot. If seen in a simplistic light, the film could be viewed as a bunch of disgruntled males getting together to fight. The plot, however, is based on several profound life questions. The underlying questions include, what if our existence is futile? How can we give purpose to our lives if they have none? And is it possible that God dislikes us?
Listen to me. You have to consider the possibility that God does not like you, He never wanted you. In all probability, He hates you.
Now, these are hard-hitting and controversial questions for sure. One little-known fact was when David Fincher handed Brad Pitt the script for Fight Club, Pitt read it and said he related to it. It was not the chaos or destruction he related to, but the existential dread of having everything you've been told to want and still feel empty inside. Contrasting Pitt, Norton's zeroed in on the story's use of black humor. He said the book was so sardonic and hilarious in observing Gen X and Gen Y's nervous anticipation of what the world was becoming and what we were expected to buy into. So what made Fight Club such a groundbreaking movie with such relevance to the 90s and into the future, into now? Let's first delve into the basic plot and also the characters just a little bit deeper. Now, Edward Norton, whom we are going to now refer to as the narrator in the movie, plays a depressed white-collar male who wears forgettable suits, works in a monotonous job, and suffers from insomnia.
I hadn't slept in 4 days. When you have insomnia, you're never really asleep, and you're never really awake.
On a work-related flight, he is seated next to someone who is his complete opposite. This guy is called Tyler Durden, also known as Brad Pitt. They meet again in a scummy bar. Later in the car park, Tyler says to the narrator,
I want you to do me a favor.
Yeah, sure.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
What?
this order to hit Tyler awakens something in the narrator. Their lives are now linked. He soon finds himself living in Tyler Durden's squalid house. And if you've seen the movie, squalid doesn't even cover the grossness of this place. And this is after the narrator's apartment is destroyed. How it becomes destroyed is subtly revealed later in the movie. The two of them, under the guidance of Tyler, form a secretive underground bare-knuckle boxing club called the Fight Club. It is oddly like the support groups the narrator previously attended at the beginning of the movie, yet with far more blood and sweat. The philosophies of Fight Club are woven into the characters and plot into a way that makes you think about your own life and how you may initially relate to the narrator, who is obsessed with the consumer lifestyle. That is, his IKEA-like home. For most of the movie, Tyler Durden is more powerful than the narrator. He is the driving force of Fight Club, creates Project Mayhem, and forces the narrator to suffer chemical burns for an agonizing minute.
This is a chemical burn. It'll hurt more than you've ever been burned, and you will have a scar.
What are you doing?
Guided meditation worked for cancer. It could work for this.
So let's dive into the 5 profound messages you can take away from Fight Club. Powerlessness of life and realizing that not everything can be controlled is the first significant theme in Fight Club.
I say never be complete. I say stop being perfect. I say let's evolve. Let the chips fall where they may.
Now, with the help of Tyler Durden, the narrator is subject to a barrage of events and thoughts that eventually lead to his breakdown, or you could actually call it his enlightenment, depending on how you view it. The narrator comes to terms with the fact that he is powerless over his life and his outcomes. He's lost his home and is dangerously close to losing his job. He realizes he must release his grip on life thrown at him. He's encouraged to give up trying to shape his future self into anything. And as Tyler Durden says,
Why? What are you talking about?
Why do you think I blew up your condo? Stop trying to control everything and just let go. Let go!
another theme is materialism. Things you own end up owning you.
Like so many others, I had become a slave to the IKEA nesting instinct.
Yes, I'd like to order the Erica Picari dust ruffles.
The narrator is trapped in a rut of relying on material possessions like coffee tables, good carpets, a TV, just to make him happy.
The Klipsk personal office unit, the Hovatrek home Exerbite, or the Yohaneshov sofa with the string green stripe pattern.
When Tyler arrives, he instills the belief that material possessions do not provide true happiness or independence. Tyler encourages the narrator and his Fight Club delegates to take back their manhood from the media's idealized portrayal of a man, which is complete with flashy automobiles, lavish mansions, and financial success, including material possessions. Now here's where the concept of a Fight Club really comes into play. Tyler states,
Enemies?
Reject the basic assumption of civilization, especially the importance of material possession.
another important theme revolves around consumerism and advertising. Now, consumerism and advertising are portrayed as forces that manipulate individuals and contribute to their discontent and lack of fulfillment. The narrator becomes disillusioned with his life as a consumer and worker in a society that values material possessions and status above all else. The narrator's involvement with Fight Club leads him to reject his former consumeristic lifestyle and embrace a more minimalistic and authentic way of living. The movie ultimately suggests that consumerism and advertising harm individuals in society and that people should strive to break free from the influence to find true happiness and meaning in their lives.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
The scene that best illustrates this is Tyler and the narrator on the bus. The narrator sees an advertisement billboard for Gucci underpants.
Is that what a man looks like?
Self-improvement is masturbation.
Now, the next important theme is self-destruction. You're not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank. Nihilism is a philosophical position that advocates for the complete rejection of all established social norms. Tyler thinks it's soul-sucking to follow the crowd and do what everyone else does. Work, wealth, and rituals cause you to forget who you are. The only way to break free from the shackles of other people's opinions and the demands of a job or a paycheck is to destroy yourself or self-destruct. The narrator's involvement with Fight Club leads him to embrace a more primal and aggressive side of himself, and he begins to engage in self-destructive behavior such as fighting and vandalism and self-sabotage. These behaviors allow the narrator to rebel against the constraints of society and assert his independence and autonomy. However, as the movie progresses, the narrator's self-destructive behaviors become increasingly extreme and dangerous, leading him to confront the limits of his mortality and the destructive consequences of his actions. Ultimately, the concept of self-destruction in Fight Club serves as a metaphor for the destructive nature of consumer culture and the need for individuals to find a more authentic and fulfilling way of living. The film feels like a slow decline into madness, a feverish dream with Tyler Durden at the wheel. Another really important theme is anarchy and anti-establishment. We are not the people you rely on. Tyler's worldview is similar to his thoughts on materialism. He believes our surroundings have influenced us to think that we can succeed in life if we only have the right stuff, make the right friends, and get the appropriate employment. As the Underground Fight Club members progress to what they call Project Mayhem, they flood the outside world, deconstruct every societal notion, and create pure anarchy.
There's one in Penn's Grove, too. Bob even found one up in Newcastle.
Yeah, did you start that one?
Project Mayhem becomes an organized and influential force, with members participating in acts of vandalism and sabotage to subvert the status quo and challenge the authority of the government and the corporate world. So the 5 themes that stand out in Fight Club include the powerlessness of life, materialism, consumerism and advertising, self-destruction and anarchy, and anti-establishment. But that is not it. There is still the ending, which was also at the beginning. Before reaching the climactic end, the narrator and Tyler Durden are having a conversation about being the same person, which highlights the psychological concept of dissociation and the idea of a split personality, or what is referred to as dissociative identity disorder.
Because
Say it.
we're the same person.
That's right.
We are the all singing, all dancing crap. Tyler, I don't understand this.
At the movie's end, the narrator reasserts himself. He seizes control from Tyler, realizing that he is the one in control, the one with the gun. Regrettably, it is not enough. Tyler is still an entity. He is the narrator's split personality. To entirely terminate Tyler, the narrator realizes he needs to shoot himself in the head. The narrator has the gun to his head, and the dominant psyche has swapped. Tyler is no longer privy to the narrator's thoughts. So the narrator sticks the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger, aiming subtly to survive the shot.
Hey, it's you and me. Friends.
I want you to really listen to me.
Okay.
My eyes are open.
Of course, Tyler does not realize the narrator will survive. What he sees is a man shooting himself in the mouth. He understands that his brains have just been blown out. In accordance with this new understanding, the other, that is Tyler Durden, self-terminates. The narrator successfully eliminates Tyler Durden, and takes back his complete control, although as a changed person. Now, it could be said that Fight Club sadly holds more significance today in our pandemic-ridden, materialistic-bound, apathetic society than in the more straightforward, technologically inferior world of 1999. Fight Club has been described as a needle in a haystack of meaninglessness. It provides an escape plan needed to escape our attachments and our obligations to the world, and a much needed voice in today's turbulent times. It could be said that Fight Club's fundamental philosophy is fuck the rules. The dream isn't worth the battle. Our freedom, our soul, our time we have on this planet. Don't forget, one of the essential characters in this movie has boobs. His name was Robert Paulson, or as he was affectionately referred to as Bob, or in the real world as Meatloaf. God rest his soul. Over and out.